What's that, puppy? Where's he? Where's he, puppy? Camera. Morning, guys and girls. Hope everyone's doing well. It is the Tuesday before Christmas, so next Tuesday will be Christmas Day, and I just thought I'd give you a little look around the farm. Haven't been on showing you around for a little while. Been busy here, different things, small things, but just getting on with stuff, and of course it all takes time. So we had a lot of rain, probably 4 weeks ago now, 5 weeks ago. We had a period with a lot of rain, so it's made things happen in a different manner than they normally happen here in terms of things growing and not growing, etc. So we had to kind of adjust to that. So everything's looking very green now, and the grass in these fields up the top here just are what we call our kind of paddock and orchard. The grass got pretty much out of control because it just kept raining, but it's always still warm here, so the grass grew very quickly, so I've managed to get it down now. But even with the ride-on mower, it was so thick and stayed wet. As you can see this morning, I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of dew here on the grass. So that wasn't really clearing. You see the sun, I don't want to blind you, but literally the sun is just making its way over the top of the hill now. A load of rubbish to go here, that's going next week. Skip truck's coming to change the skip because I'm doing some work in the house now. We're doing some kitchen work and I need a new skip. So the new skip will come and go up the top here where the cars are parked, so I can put the building rubbish, cheers, put the building rubbish straight in and get rid of that. So we'll have a quick turnaround on that skip. Got the Logosol mill here, which I've been doing a few bits and pieces with, but not much. We've got the rest of Al's trees over there to come down. These ones are all filling in nicely now, the ones we took down along the perimeter, thinned them out and took the tops off them. And we'll be doing the same thing to these ones along here, getting rid of those. And that's been part of the problem. The sun's low at this time of year, it doesn't get very high. So it's been swinging round from the top of the mountain there. It's been swinging around us in an arc and then setting over here in the west. And the sun's not really been getting on the orchard at all during the day, so it's not been drying out that grass, and the grass was wet and thick, so it took quite a while to, well, I say quite a while, it took a number of cuts to get it down. Got it all down there. And then strangely, during this rain, we had all these holes open up everywhere, so what I guess were just cracks, just all opened up, and we got these huge holes, which very strange. I couldn't work out where the soil had gone, you know, that was there before. Really odd. It wasn't really until I started going across with the lawnmower that I found all these huge, and they're really big. They were huge holes. So to fill those in, and likewise over in the orchard, I'll take you over there. Dogs are all out here this morning. Here's Ori, Mr. Ori. Hello, Ori. Ori. Hello. 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 Hello, little dog. Here's Kooky. Kooky Lucas. Ori, Ori and Kookus. Alright, get him, get him, catch 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 him, Ori, catch him, catch him, catch him. Get him, Ori, get him, Ori, get him, Ori, get him, get him, get him, Catch him! Catch him! Catch him! There's Mr. Muttley. Hello, Mr. Muttley. Mr. Muttley. Hello, Mr. Muttley. As you can see, Poc's starting to join in with everybody now, so he's getting braver. Although, if anything serious happens, he runs away, hides inside. Yeah, but even the worst place was over here in the orchard, actually, where oh yeah, I concreted all these railway sleepers in either side, and then got some coloured gravel coming for the driveway just to smarten that up. Probably do that next couple of weeks, get that in. Just got river stone in the bottom of it now for a base, and then you can see how much it's built up when you walk down this side to get it level, and then I just get some earth in on this side and make a bank up to the railway sleepers. But yeah, this whole area here just kind of subsided, and literally I had to fill it all in with earth, and where the earth went that was there I really have absolutely no idea. Really very strange. Anyway, yeah, so you can see these trees. One of them didn't like being chopped back. This cypress here didn't like it. It died off. So I'll pop that one out. Now there is a couple of, as you can see, pushing the fence here, there's a couple of palm trees really getting going now. And it's damaged the fence at the top, so we'll have to do something about that. Either try and dig it out. They're difficult to dig out because they have a very big root ball at the bottom. So you really make a mess when you dig them out. But obviously it's going to destroy the fence, so we'll do something about it. It would be nice to get one of those out and put it in there in the gap. Just have one palm tree in there. Maybe I'll just hook that out and put another cypress in there. I mean, we've got these ones, we've already thinned this end, so we've just got the tops to come off these. And maybe one of the cypresses in here that I would have taken out altogether, we'll transplant, dig it out, transplant it over there and put it in that gap. It might be the best thing to do. Trees here are all cut back, everything's cut right back at the moment, apart from the lemon trees. Sorry if the sun's in your eyes, it's in my eyes as well. Yeah, so we had a very long, hot summer. Actually out here, I don't know if you'll see from this side of the fence, it'd be a bit difficult for me to climb over the fence with my cup of tea and the camera. But just along the edge over there, there's still, the holes are still there, I haven't filled them in yet from this strange sinkhole phenomenon we've had this year. Very dry, ground opened up with cracks, and then with all the rain it literally created these huge holes. But where that soil actually went to, that was there, I've got no idea. It looked like some animal had been and dug, well, eaten the mud, because normally when an animal digs out a hole it leaves a little pile behind it. Look at these two standing to attention. Hello, little dogs. Hello. What do you do? Mr. Muttley, Mr. Muttley, Mr. Cucus, Mr. Rory Porry. Hello, Rory Porry. Hello. 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 So for those of you that don't know, Muttley was abandoned here on the farm. We inherited him. At that time we had the other dogs. We had Boo and Mabel and Bart, so we had 4, and then subsequently those 3 have passed away for old age, and then we were left just with Muttley, and he was looking a bit lonely. So just over a year ago, just before I went to France with my nephew Jono, I went to the dog shelter and arranged to take these two, to take Kooky and Ori. So we've had Kooky and Ori for a year, just over a year, and then, as you know, 4 months ago I found Pock, and Pock was with his brother, abandoned in the countryside, and about seven days old, the vet thought, still blind and deaf, and I put them both in my crash helmet and brought them home. Unfortunately his brother didn't make it, but he's now one of the gang of 4. And then you'll see here, one of the reasons for making a little video this morning is that I had a container delivered, a shipping container. So this is a 20 foot or 6 metre container. Just move this chair out of the way. There's a little ride-on mower. Digger that ended up in the river. It's now back on fine form. Yeah, so 20 foot container, and I made a level platform here and put a load of river stone down, which I just kind of ran down with the digger. And I hope you can see okay in here. Yeah, camera should adjust it okay, I think. So we've just got bikes hanging up, and I'm just gradually, it's still a bit of a mess, but where I'm doing all the work in the house, we've moved a lot of stuff out of the house, so I've got sort of storage up that end. Been an opportunity to sort through old things as well, because the room I'm working on is a room that we just use as a bit of a storeroom, and so I've taken everything out of there and brought it up into here. So that end of from the solar panel there to the end is all just storage stuff, and I've been able to sort through all that, and then gradually bringing all the tools and everything into here and having a general sort out. Chainsaws down here, underneath, axes, and the old bucket special down there somewhere. Here we are. Which is my go-to splitting axe. Bucking very kindly sent me after Sweden trip. It's that nice knife that Holtzbrook gave me and Bucking one of these knives each, and Bucking gave his to Mortski, and I've been using mine on the farm. It's a great little knife, very useful to have on your belt and have around. So yeah, that's a useful addition of storage. And now this little building here, which we are going to whip the roof off and redo, probably just actually take that roof off and use some panels. You can buy panels here now which have got insulation attached to the underside, and the top appearance of them is of those tiles, so they look quite natural. So it solves a lot of problems in one go, and it's very easy to create a lightweight infrastructure underneath to hold them up because they're very light. It's actually very heavy, those roofs, although they're very traditional construction. I'll try and show you inside what they used to do. So they used to go down to the river, cut the bamboo, and then create the underside of the roof with the bamboo. That's actually how part of our house was built before we renovated it, actually using the old bamboo underside. So you can see very traditional construction. It'd be quite nice to keep it really if we can, but as you can see it's very simple. But there's actually quite a lot of weight on the top of that, because you can see they have to build it up, build the roof up in mortar underneath on top of that bamboo. It would be nice to release that weight and just put some panels on. But this used to be, years ago, this house didn't have electricity, didn't have mains electricity, so this was a little generator house. And that was that door went through to a little storage area for fuel. And then a generator was here under these plastic bottles, which I've got to get rid of. There is a plinth, there's a concrete plinth underneath there, and the generator used to sit on that concrete plinth, and then where you can see that's bricked up at the end, that was the exhaust from the generator. So the generator used to provide the electricity for the house, and it had an exhaust coming out that side. So now we've got a bit of extra storage space here with the container. I can get in here and get that all cleared out and have a general sort out. So really, what it's those things, you know, if any of you, and I know a lot of you have got your farms and the sun's right in my eyes here, farms and your small holdings and whatever, you know how much stuff you accumulate. You just accumulate stuff and it goes everywhere. It's not a resolution, but I've just decided to, you know, clear everything up. So to do that, you sort of need an extra area where you can process everything, even if it goes back into where it was before. You need somewhere where it can come out and be processed and, you know, either got rid of or sorted out or fixed. You know, things get pushed to one side because you haven't got time to fix them, and then you suddenly go start sorting through things. You know, oh, got one of those. I've already got one of those. I just need to fix it. You know, so that's what that is for. My intention was to get two, but I think we're going to manage with one actually. So we'll see. Yeah. I did make another area. This is kind of the burning area here. You see the trimmings from the rubber tree, which will need a while before they can be burnt. But I made another area just down here where I used to just have the bonfire. I did flatten all that off, thinking I might put another container in down here straight away, but I don't think we're going to need it. And actually all of this you see that I've built up, if you can see this extra level here, it's actually just it's soil up the top there. I got a river stone up with the dumper from down by the river and put that in, but this is just soil, and this has literally just come from working on the land in the garden, and what you kind of pull up with other things. So we've ended up with quite a lot of nice earth which has come out of the garden just from when you're working on stuff, and perhaps you pull a tree out or you pull a shrub out, or you do some work, move some earth around, and you end up with, when you put it down here and then burn it, of course the earth's left behind. So there's actually quite a lot of earth there, which is probably enough now that I've levelled it all out and pretty much sorted through it, got everything out of it. It's probably enough to go along the side of the driveway where you saw those railway sleepers earlier on, and actually create a bank along there. So I'll probably dig that back out again with the machine and dumper it up to the top, and then it'll get a second sort out when it goes up there, get all the bits and pieces out of it. Down here's the old chapel, which you know you've seen before, those of you that have been along with me at home before. And all this stuff's got to be sorted through. Started sorting through it here. These benches will come out. The bench will go up alongside the unit outside. It just lives outside that bench. And this will do away with. My lathe, which is underneath that cover there, will go up to the unit there, have a little cover over it. I'll probably make just a small steel structure off the side of that unit and just have a lean-to type roof coming off, and be able to pop stuff underneath. Create a dry area for things that can be outside but need to be under cover. And then one thing that Lisa, poor old Lisa was waiting for me to do probably since we moved in the house, and of course the situation's got worse and worse because we've been here 11 years now, were these trees, which are these what we call Washington palms, and they grow and they end up with these, when the leaves die back, you end up with these ugly boots hanging off. You've got the dry branch or dry leaf or stalk, you might want to say, the palm tree, the palm leaf, and it leaves this kind of crossed over boot behind. So I trimmed all the leaves back, and now you've got these, still got the boots up the top, but this is what it should look like, how it is down the bottom. And you have to do that with a knife individually on each layer. You have to go around with a knife and trim back the boot. You can see on the other tree there where they crisscross over. That's the boot of the two leaves coming together, and you have to go around with a knife and trim that off. So it's very time consuming. I'm just kind of doing it, you know, when I've got a spare 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, I come down and just trim a bit more off. So the idea is you don't trim them all the way to the top. That's not how they do it. They normally do about 2/3. They trim them right back about 2/3 and they leave the rough part towards the top. I think that's to protect from insect infestation, because towards the top it's much more alive, if you know what I mean, and I think it's prone, if you cut it right back, it's prone to insect infestation. So they don't trim all the way to the top, they trim about 2/3 of the way up. And then Lisa started this weekend on this, which we've just cut right. I just ran the chainsaw through it. This bougainvillea here, it's got completely out of control, so just cut it right off, and be removing all of that this week. All this stuff, it's terrible stuff. It's really spiky. I don't know if you can see these spikes here, but they're vicious, absolutely vicious spikes. When you come to try and do anything with this, it's terrible stuff to work with. That's why it flourishes here, because the animals can't get near it, and people tend not to go near it if they can help it. So that's all coming out, and then this wooden structure that's underneath, or what's left of this wooden structure, will all come out as well. If you can see the beams up under there, and that, there's actually not too much wrong with them. They just need to come out and be treated, put back in. We might add another one in, tidy it all up, and you know, smarten all this area up down here by the pool. As you know, the pool, well, those of you that have been following along, we've got the barbecue area down here for summertime. As you know, the pool's, you know, massive. It's so big. It's an old water deposit, and so basically we're going to put a retaining wall in from somewhere around here, and just make an ordinary sized pool. But what I'm going to do, I'll take you down in the pool here. So we're considerably above head height. If I stand here, you can see we're considerably above head height down in here, and that of course was the whole pool. Cushion's blown down in there. Okay, grab that while I'm here. So you can imagine the volume of water that was in here. And you know, originally it was a water deposit for the farm, and then before we moved in, it was turned into a pool. You know, very nice when you've got it all full of water and everything, but it takes a lot of electricity, because you're constantly filtering and pumping the water around. It takes a lot of chemicals. So basically what we're going to do is build a retaining wall about here to create, somewhere around about here, create a pretty much ordinary sized pool on this end. And then all of this here. I don't know if I can do it with my finger. Yeah. So we'll run some steel beams across, side to side, and actually terrace over the whole top of this area. So this will be a big terrace, and you'll be able to come in underneath it through a doorway here. That, what you can see up the top there, is the old pump house with all the pump and all that equipment in, and all that equipment will come in here underneath. There'll be a doorway here to come in from there, so that's going to be taken down, and there'll be a doorway, and you'll come in here, and all of this under here will be storage. So you'll come in underneath the terrace above, and you'll have storage underneath, and then the retaining wall will be here, and the pump equipment will be in here against the retaining wall. So we'll end up with a much smaller pool, much easier managed pool, a much bigger terrace area, and we lack a terrace area by the pool. So we'll have a much bigger terrace area to put your sun loungers on and have a table and chairs and all that sort of thing. And we'll create a very, very large storage area underneath, which, you know, I'll make those doorways big enough you can drive the mower in and all that kind of thing, so everything can come in underneath there. So, you know, what we've got now is like the container and the chapel. They'll just be literally workshops, and all the storage will be underneath here. So, yeah, it just makes a better area. So that's next year's work. Plenty to do. And then is Lisa's working through here with clearing up the stuff. So she's cut all out underneath here, and then she's loading that into the dumper. I've just got to empty that now. That's my next little job. You know, you've not only got all the stuff there, you've got all the dead leaves that are in amongst it also. It's, you know, it's voluminous rather than heavy, but very spiky. And then in the house, what we are doing, which is the project that's currently underway. Hope you're enjoying this, by the way, guys. I just thought I'd bring you all up to speed, let you know what's going on. Pop's coming around with us, showing us the way. So in the kitchen here, we are going through the wall. So I don't know if you can see these two lines I've got drawn on the wall here. This one and this one. And I have drilled through the wall, which you can't see because it's behind that spice rack. But that's one of the holes drilled through, and I've drilled through on the two sides. So we'll go through and I'll show you on the other side. But that's all going to be opened up. So from the line on this side to the line on this side is going to be opened up. This unit here is coming out altogether, and the kitchen's going to be redone. But this unit's coming out altogether. The gas oven coming, and that's going to go here. And the table, it's sitting in a rather unusual place at the moment, but the table is exactly where I'm going to build an island. So it's going to be exactly that size, the size of the table, which is 900 wide by 1.8 long, and the island is going to be exactly that size. And so we've had it sitting there just to get used to walking around it, make sure it's the right position. So then in the summertime, or most of the time here when it's hot, you can have these double doors open and get some air coming in while you're here cooking. So the cooker will be on this side, looking through the opening into the other room. And to get up into the other room, because the floor level is different, you will have steps like these steps. So the steps we've got here going up into the reception room. You will have the same type of steps in the kitchen between the units going up into what will be the dining room. So I'll take you through to what's going to be the dining room. As you can see, we don't live in a very tidy manner. We've got 1,000 things going on, muck everywhere. So this was a bedroom before. This is one of the bedrooms, and on the other side of that wall there is the kitchen. And these are the holes I drilled through. So this pencil line represents the pencil line that you saw in the kitchen, and there's the hole I drilled through on that pencil line. That's the hole I showed you above the hob, and then the other hole here is on the other pencil line. And so that's going to be the opening, where you can see those holes. That's going to be the opening coming through from the kitchen. I can't go any higher than this, because this height here, this pencil line, is the height of the wooden beams on the other side. The wooden beams in this house aren't structural, they've only been put in for decoration. So they're not structural, but of course, it comes down to here, so you've got to mask that. So that height there is the height of the beam. So for that reason, the last step of the steps coming up from the kitchen there, the last step will be in the wall, if you know what I mean. So you'll step that as you come through the wall, you will be on the last step, and then you'll step up into here. So this line here, this line where the floor and the wall meet, that will be the edge of the top step. Otherwise, you've got a tendency, if I make the top step if I make this level go through as the top step through the wall, then you'll have a tendency to potentially bang your head as you come through the wall. Although it's unlikely, but it's possible. So top step will be in the wall, if you understand what I mean, and that will stop that happening. And then, as you can see, I've started to take this wall out here. Very fortunately, when they built the house, they put 2 windows in this bedroom going out into the courtyard, and they ran the concrete beam, which has got steel in. I can see the steel just here. The concrete beam, instead of just putting 2 lintels in, one above this window and one above this window, they ran the beam all the way through. So the concrete beam goes all the way across from one side to the other, which means that this is already supported. So I can take this wall out without having to worry about the weight from above. So this wall is coming out completely. So we're making an opening in this wall. This will become a guest bathroom. It was an ensuite bathroom for the bedroom, but it's now going to be the guest bathroom. The shower's been taken out already. There's a shower in that corner. That's going to be the guest bathroom, or cloakroom, if you want to call it that. And then this wall is coming out, opening on this side through to the kitchen. So you'll look through from the kitchen into here. This becomes a dining room, and I'll show you what's happening in the courtyard. So we're in the courtyard now, which kind of joins the 2 parts of our house together. This is the old part, which is from the late 1800s, this part of the house, which has kind of become the guest part of the house. And this is the newer part, that part and this part, which is the part where we live all the time. And we're on the other side of the wall. You can see the holes in the wall there, and the 2 windows. We're on the other side of that wall we were just looking at that I'm knocking down. So that wall is coming out altogether from here, from this corner here, through to here. And then the room is going to be extended out to this edge here. I'm catching that here. And that's going to be in glass. So you'll have, on this side here, you'll have glass with a glass door, so you can come through and come up up these steps into the old house. And the front of this, all the way through here, is going to be what they call glass curtains, which are glass panels that you twist and then slide along. So you twist each one and slide it along out of the way. And so what that will mean is that you can have the dining room open into this courtyard. and the floor level is exactly the same. The floor level in the courtyard and the floor level inside there is exactly the same. So you will, in the winter time, you'll just have the sunlight and the light coming in with the glass panels closed, and then any other time you'll open those up, and that whole area will be open to the courtyard, which means that you'll come through from the kitchen, dining room, courtyard. You use the courtyard a lot more. At the moment we just kind of use it to go through. We don't really use it as much as we thought we would when we bought the house, but that's going to bring all that into play. So that's what we're doing at the moment, guys. That's what's keeping me busy, amongst other things. And Lisa's just oiled all this table and chairs after the summer and the rain that we had. She's got that in here, and Lindsay'd oiled the chairs and the table, so they're all looking good. Teak table and chairs. She's got her patio heater in here, keep her warm. That's about it. Alright guys, well I just wanted to bring you up to date. As with everybody's house, there's another 100 things going on that I haven't told you about, but that's been what's occupying my time. And I just wanted to say that sorry there hasn't been much content going up from me. There's been a few cycling bits and pieces going up, but since having Pock, who's now 4 months old, he's been pretty much filling in all the gaps. So where I'd normally sit down and watch someone's YouTube videos or edit a video myself or make a video myself, I've been busy with him, trying to bring him up. But he's getting more independent now, and he's joining in with the other dogs and looking after himself. So yeah, it's much easier. It's getting easier. Alright guys, well I hope you're all enjoying the festive season and getting ready for Christmas, however you're celebrating Christmas, if you are celebrating Christmas. Not everybody does, of course. And look forward to seeing you all either over the Christmas period or in the new year. So Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everyone, and speak to you all soon. Bye for now.